Hello everyone. We're closing in on the end of the year, 2022, and by the time this video goes live, I expect we will already be in 2023. So the purpose of this video is to wish you all a very, very enjoyable New Year's Eve and a good transition into the new year. May 2023 hopefully be brighter and happier all round than 2022, which was for most of us quite a trial, I imagine. It certainly was for me personally, struggling with the frustration of having continued eyesight problems. But for most people around the world, the ongoing effects of the pandemic were really beginning to wear us down. And of course we know that in many parts of the world, peace is not something that people can always enjoy. I really do hope we will see some improvements next year. So what are we doing today as a small end-of-year celebration? And honestly, I couldn't think of anything better in a way than one of my favourite game series. I've done videos before on Persona and Persona 5, but you can never have enough, I reckon. And of course 2022 had a few highlights, actually quite a few highlights in gaming. We were lucky as gamers, I think, with the incredible number, especially of JRPGs we received. But this was the year that Persona 5 Royal finally came to other platforms. And one of those platforms is, of course, Xbox. And as you will probably know, I have now been enjoying my Xbox for just over a year. So I was naturally excited when I saw that Persona 5 Royal came not just to Xbox but to GamePass, thus making it available to a really broad range of gamers. But of course, as we all know, JRPGs are probably not quite as well represented on Xbox as they are on other platforms like PlayStation and Nintendo, although I have been surprised myself, being a fairly recent Xboxer, with how many of the new JRPGs have actually made it to Xbox. Especially this year, 2022. I think it was a really excellent year on Xbox for JRPGs, but I am always a bit concerned that they might find it difficult to capture the limelight. Most people might say, JRPGs, I don't know, or I might just give it a quick try. I'm not quite sure about this, back out again. It needs a sort of culture developing really for people to appreciate JRPGs, and maybe they can do with a little bit of help on the Xbox. The big hitters on the Xbox and the first party games are of course mainly shooters. JRPGs naturally would struggle a bit to be recognized as an equally enjoyable and worthwhile type of game. Very different from a shooter, of course, but I always believe in playing a wider range of games than just one genre. It adds so much to your gaming experience. So the special occasion why I'm bringing up the Joker I hope if you're on Xbox you have given Persona 5 Royal a try, and you are familiar with the Joker, the protagonist of the game. He's called Ren Amamiya, and he's just an ordinary high school student, but also quite a bit more.
I am the Pillager of Twilight, Arsene!
What the?
So the occasion is this box here. The box is a kit for promotional purposes, and that's the reason why you would have seen that little promotional message right at the beginning of the video, which I am legally obliged to insert. This box is a kit that was distributed a while ago now. I've had it, I don't know, since October, November, specifically for the purpose of promoting Persona 5 Royal on the Xbox. So this is basically, as I understand it, a collaboration between Atlus and the company Razer, who produce third-party Xbox controllers, to do something a bit special. As always, there is a bit of a story behind this. I don't think the whole story has been told or explained properly, and you know me, I always say I'm transparent. That's it. I'm going to explain as best I can what happened with this box, this promotional kit that was distributed to a variety of people. You know, journalists, PR agents, YouTubers, whoever is involved with media and social media in some way. So this obviously didn't drop out of thin air. And normally if somebody approaches me out of the blue, I sort of politely back away because that's not what I normally do. However, this is a bit different. I'd been talking with some people in Australia for quite some months about a whole variety of issues, but all revolving around JRPGs. And honestly, the presence of JRPGs, especially in my region, Australia, New Zealand mainly, is particularly weak, I'd have to say, especially looking at sales, etc. They don't always do that well. There is a very dedicated base of fans for JRPGs, and they will buy the limited editions, etc. But I would say it's a small fan base, and it's not really growing. So any attempt to try and put JRPGs more into the limelight, from my point of view, can only be a good thing. I'm sure you have seen comments on social media. I see them every day, people saying, gosh, that game was released by Square Enix without much fanfare. They didn't get much promotion, much marketing at all. Not surprising, people haven't heard of it or aren't playing it. And we've had a lot of games from especially Square Enix this year. This is, of course, where these types of businesses, these companies come in to try and raise that level a bit more. It is their job, it is part of their job to try and promote these games. I don't often see it, so it was refreshing, I thought, to be able to talk to someone who actually has both a professional interest as well as a personal interest in JRPGs. And that impressed me. These people weren't just sort of, bean counting, looking at the numbers, saying, oh, we've got to do something. No, some of these people, have JRPG tattoos. Yeah, they're really keen. So naturally that appealed to me. Every gamer loves talking with somebody else about their favourite games. So out of those discussions came this box, and I had a look at it when it arrived. I thought, oh yeah, that looks quite neat. And then I happened to see online, on social media, that a few people had posted photos, mentioned they had received this box. Wouldn't you know it, there was a backlash. Really nasty stuff was being written and commented. I won't even go into it, but I thought, no, this is not something I want to get into. What's going on here, you know? I will show you the item that sparked the ire of so many who profess to be fans, but I have my doubts. Because if there's one thing I have learned over the many years in my life, is that people who have personal outbursts against other people, they often, in most cases, haven't actually checked the facts of the situation. They just want to have an outburst. So before I go into the box, if you just have a look at that label, I think you can see that it's a simple sticker label. It's an ordinary red box for presentation purposes, non-branded, and they put the Persona 5 sticker on top. So there isn't even a special print job done or anything, it's just really straightforward. I imagine to keep costs down, probably. Yeah. So inside there is a universal quick charging stand, which I haven't even had a look at yet. Seriously, I really haven't had a lot of time for this kind of thing. But the item that I have had a look at and that all the kerfuffle was about is here. There was also a card inside the box which contained a code that could be redeemed for a jacket, a Shujin Academy jacket. And that's what I did. And it's a black jacket with red buttons and the Academy logo on the inside as well, just like a school jacket would have a, label with the name inside. And on the back it has the this little strap, the red buttons. So I think it's reasonably authentic, trying to recreate the type of jacket they have in the game. This is it. This is the pièce de résistance. It's an Xbox wireless controller, and when I saw it, my first thought was, yes, that is very useful, because I only have the one controller that came with my Xbox S. It's nice to have a second one with a charging station, which I haven't had before, so I'd have to say that's a bit of a treat for me. It's the usual box for the Xbox controller. It's not any special controller, not that I can work out. I've checked the box carefully and it just says Xbox wireless controller. Nothing extraordinary about it, no elite or anything. Just a straightforward carbon black controller. But the special thing about it, of course, is the design on it. Because a lot of people were asking online, is this available commercially? There was a lot of interest. And at first there was no answer available because nobody knew. So I assumed, due to the online discussions, that this was a specially produced controller with its own native design, so to speak. However, that is not the case. The moment I felt around the controller, I thought, oh, what are these crinkles round the edges? It's black on black. I don't think you'd be able to see it, even though my camera does zoom in quite well. Along the edges, I can actually feel the edge of the sticker. And round where there's a curve on the grips here, I can feel a little bit of crinkle where whoever applied this obviously struggled a little bit to get everything smooth. We all know the struggle with that sort of thing, or with screen protectors putting them on, a similar problem. I'm just trying to smooth it out a little bit more, yes. So this is what I call a decal. It's a controller skin. So to recap, it's an ordinary standard black controller, Xbox wireless controller, which had a design skin attached. That's what all the fuss was about. If this is simply a skin, then it should be possible to make that available more widely, perhaps, seeing there was so much interest in it. From what I heard, from what I was told, I believe Atlus did make the template available, but I don't have any details on this. I'm afraid if you're really interested, you'll have to do a bit of detective work yourself. I saw that there are plenty of sellers on eBay and other commercial sites offering a variety of decals or skins for both the Xbox console as well as the controllers. There's a variety of designs available. Whether this exact one is available for purchase anywhere, I couldn't figure out. So that would be interesting to know. I'd love to hear if any of you find out any more. So that's the story of the Xbox controller. Let's get the charging station out. So this is the charging station with the P5 Royal design on it. This one has been applied very carefully. I can still feel round the edges that I think it's a sticker, it's a skin, just like on the controller, but it looks very neat. And there you have it. One charging stand with controller. Very nice, very space efficient. You know, you can just tuck it into a corner somewhere. So whether kits like this actually help with promoting awareness of a particular game, I don't know. I can't really judge that. I can only say that in a case like this, it might cause quite a bit of online controversy. But that's, of course, not always what a publisher might be looking for. It's still trying to get rid of the crinkles. So what I would like to know from you is, if you're on Xbox, and especially if you have GamePass, have you played Persona 5 Royal? Have you started it up? What did you think? Did it grab you straight away? I hope so, because it's a pretty spectacular opening, I think, and you then are thrown straight into a very mysterious story. This is the opening prologue to the game. It's a mixture of action, fighting, and cutscenes. Let's have a look at how they've done it. Now we're straight into the action. We have, of course, no idea what's really going on, and we have to do a spot of platforming to start with. To anyone experiencing this who had played only Persona 2, 3, and or 4 maybe beforehand, this is such a change. You might be forgiven for thinking that this is a completely different type of game. Where's the JRPG, you ask? However, the main thing at this stage is that it's exciting and you just go along for the ride. Cutscene, and now we're into the very first fight. You can see that the enemies transform into monsters, and here's the typical turn-based menu for your battle options. I just did a straightforward attack and some gunshots. The enemy replies with Agidyne, which you will know if you know your Shin Megami Tensei, and the Joker finishes him off. And that was our very first introduction to the combat. Now, straight away, he's still on the run. We're introduced to a new technique, and that is stealth. Stealth has a minor but important place in Persona 5. The introduction shows us quickly how to cope with that. And we're being introduced to another little mechanic, which can come in handy at times. And here is a beautiful cutscene, highly stylized. A mysterious female combatant rescues the Joker.
Let's do this, senpai!
And here we go. A dual fight with multiple enemies. And if you've played Persona 4, you will recognise that you can have a pile-up, inflicting mass combined damage on the enemy. Lots of fun. But the Joker's luck has finally run out. He has been cornered. He can't escape. And that's the final blow.
Didn't expect to find some kid. You have your teammate to thank for this. You.
And this is the absolute final blow. He has been betrayed. He's now in a maximum security prison, where apparently very few rules apply. And coercion is part of the game.
One Piece. We are going to make you understand. One must take full responsibility for their actions.
His solicitor wants the whole story, and this is where the game itself begins.
You are held captive. A prisoner of fate to a future that has been sealed in advance. This is truly an unjust game. Your chances of winning are almost none. But if my voice is reaching you, there may yet be a possibility open to you. I beg you, please overcome this game and save the world. The key to victory lies within the memories of your bonds, the truth that you and your friends grasped. It all began that day, when the game was started half a year ago. For the sake of your world's future, as well as your...
And now we get the backflash to how it all started. I'm obviously not going to show you that. I hope very much that you have been hooked by this prologue introduction. Yes, you'll be spending quite a bit of time in the Tokyo subway learning to find your way around. A mix of everyday life tasks, of building social relations with other students and adults, of fighting, and various other activities. This prologue has prepared you for a truly wild ride. I'm hoping that many people did and found it exciting and intriguing enough to continue playing. Of course, the one thing about Persona 5 is, like with all the Personas, the more you play it, the more you will get out of it, personally. Of course, that applies to almost anything in life, but in particular with something that is as well crafted as Persona 5. I started playing Persona 5 when it first came out, the original version for the PlayStation 4, and I then played it again when the Royal version came out for PlayStation. And when it came to GamePass, I thought, oh, that's great, but I don't really need to play it again, do I? And one day, what did I do? I saw it on GamePass, quickly downloaded it, and I thought, well, I better have a look at it, just to check it out, just to see how it runs on Xbox. And I always like comparing and, how have they done the visuals, etc. I started up P5R on GamePass, and yes, time became immaterial, it vanished. I was back in that world in Tokyo. I just loved it as much as I did before. It's just one of those games that I never stop playing. I just go back in again. Morgana? We've got the Morgana bus here. And another enamel pin of Morgana, because you can't have enough of Morgana, obviously. Yes. And I also have the Persona 5 Mementos Mission manga, which is a special edition. There are just 3 volumes. If you love Persona 5, you enjoy the characters, the world, the Phantom Thieves, and would just like a little bit more sort of like dessert, then it might be worth your while getting these volumes. The best promotion for a good game, in my opinion, is people who play it talking about it. Word of mouth is one of the most powerful marketing techniques, and one that still works extremely well. I decided now, upon reflection, and that I've told you the whole story around it, that I feel comfortable keeping it and enjoying it, and hopefully using it in the future to show to people my love and appreciation for Persona. My thanks go to 5-Star Games for being such hardcore JRPG fans and doing what they can to raise awareness for these games. And thank you to all of you who have been watching throughout the year. I wish you all the best for 2023. Please keep well. I'm Food for Dogs. Bye-bye.